All right, here we go, guys. This is going to be an interesting show here. I am at youth baseball practice in an indoor facility here. I'll turn this around for you. You can see that there is a bunch of kids doing really awesome indoor baseball things, and we are in the week before all the holiday breaks, right? So this is like, yeah, there's a lot going on. So this is I kind of noted that we should really have a name for this week. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, if you have any amount of direct reports or management responsibilities, this is a big week, man, because a lot of businesses that have been around a while typically take off that time between Christmas and New Year's. And it just so happens that it's about 2+ weeks, give or take. If you actually do that, and we shut down the entire business for at least 2 weeks until I think it'll be January 5th this year. There's a lot of stuff to do. This is the last week. And in fact, when we do a 4-day work week, tomorrow is the last working day of the year, minus some other weird little stuff here. But basically, the company's off after that. So in this week, this has become like the entrepreneur's week. There are so many things to go on. So you typically have some Christmas parties. I'll talk about those. You have to round out all your data. You have to put a cap on whatever you did this year. You have to start getting everything ready for next year. So it's not like you just stop working today and show up 2 weeks from now and then keep working. There's so many little things. I think it's about a 72-point checklist in my company of things you just have to do. So let's talk about some of the basic, just the nuts and bolts of getting my company finished for the year and then started again. So if you think about all the apps and the software and the spreadsheets and the dashboards we use, something as simple as Slack. I do not want years and years and years of Slack messages being all bungled up and stuff like that. So I basically start a new Slack not a channel, a really workspace for every single year. So I then cap it off, remove all the other human beings. I stay the admin, but I have reference. It's like a human resource library back then. So every message between every human in my company, there's between 100,000 and 140,000 a year, depending on the year. And it's capped off, and I archive those things and save them. And it costs me maybe $100 a year to maintain those things like that. I got years and years and years of those things. It's actually helpful for referencing some HR stuff from the past. But then we start a new one. Then you got to recreate all your special channels. We have a meme channel. We have a random channel. We have a pets of NSPRC channel. We got all this sort of stuff on there. And it's just the point of setting that up. And then be like, oh, yeah, that's not a big deal. You got to change the color of the workspace and the logos and your name and it's an hour and a half worth of work, right? And that's only one thing that we use. So for taking in leads and things like that, we're using Paint Scout CRM. So that's a big setup. They just introduced CRM this last year. So we're implementing that in our company. We're getting all of our systems that we redid about a year and a half ago booted back into to Paint Scout. It's a wonderful, wonderful system, and it's super fun to use too, especially with the estimating side. That's a clear win. And now we're adding the CRM, the side on front of that. And hopefully this next year, there's some project management capabilities that can go around. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping, wishful thinking maybe, but hoping to see some of that next year to fill in that gap. But right now we use a project management software. We use a spreadsheet for that sort of thing. So I made my own dashboards, and it's got multiple tabs on the bottom. And we basically got a year's worth of job costing and budgets and, just learnings and previous job, past job. Well, I think we'll do 500 some jobs this year, things like that. And so it's an archive of that. And so what I do is I cap that off with that working document. We start a new one, and that's when I make all my changes. I'll add some cells, remove some cells. I'll add a process, remove a process, change the budgets, because all those things, there's calculations based on how much we want to charge and how much we want to produce a year. So I'll get in there and tweak those to make sure they align with all the comp plans and the expectations that I set out for everybody. As far as Paint Scout goes, there's not really, we update our prices. So I'll typically go through, and on the 6 major jobs we do, ceiling, wall, trim, cabinet, full exteriors, and decks, that constitutes 90-95% of all the work we do. And I'll basically go through and we'll look at job costing for each one, success ratio, average job size, and revenue sold during the year, success ratio, whatever. And we'll then see about adjusting prices, because we typically don't just do an across the board price cut. I keep a price Bible where every price change this company's ever made for like the last 5 or 6 years in this new format. We have an index of that, and I can trace it through the years of how much we've increased. Last year was the first year in 18 years of the company. We actually took a number back. We went down in prices in some areas based on my unit price estimating system and my market price based estimating system. So yeah, that'll kind of take care of the dashboard. There's not much updating at Paint Scout. That's great. Just roll it into the next year. Then there's a reporting feature. I'll pause right here. Any questions you guys have? Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube and LinkedIn as well too. Post those things here. I'll catch them in live time. I will not apologize for the Christmas music. It's kind of nice to have in the background. I understand it might be distracting, but this is how it goes. Ask a Painter Live comes in the evening from my kids' baseball practice. I came right from work. I had a bowl of soup. I came here. I'm hammering away at end of the year stuff, and we're kind of talking about that last week of the year thing here. So we talked about leads. We'll get a new spreadsheet for leads. All the website form things from my website go to a spreadsheet. We'll redo that. We'll get a new source for that so we can have all 2026 leads coming through. Marketing. I have an operations manager dashboard. Let's see. I wonder if I can even, I'll share that with you guys. If I can do that here without cutting down all the stream and stuff. So let me get that thing up here. But I'll kind of show you like of the things that I like to work with. There's lots and lots and lots of data that we track, obviously. And when, there we go, that's a little better there. Yeah. So when we start doing a bunch of this stuff, we have to reset all this stuff because I don't want these graphs to just go. There's a start and an end date. There's 52 weeks in here. So it might be, as simple as, hey, just copy and paste and all this stuff. But here's the deal. We basically need to reset all this stuff. And then this is the time to make all those changes. So all my marketing is tracked on here as well, too. We'll track all our leads. We'll track all our sales, our marketing expenses, things like that. And we'll just rock and roll right through this thing. We'll reset it, make some adjustments. But then we start over from zero. And one of the things that I like to do the most is to sort of like, I love making the improvements for these things, and I love setting out the goals. So every year, throughout the entire year, I have weekly meetings with my mentor and accountability partners and all this other stuff. And I basically just go through and I start thinking about the year a year in advance about goals for growth, goals for improvement in different areas here. And then my job as the visionary, as the founder and the operations manager is to come up with accurate goals that will push my people, will give them wins, but also accomplish the goals of the company. So when you think about like, here, I'll throw this thing back up here and sorry, I'm switching between tabs here. Let's just talk about sales for this year, right? So you can see on this graph, this is the chart of all the sales that we did this week, right? So we have the gray here is my projection about what we do, and then there's the actual amount of sales. This is the tan stuff, the beautiful beige stuff, is basically like our chart of how the sales actually went week by week. So you can see this is kind of a lumpy graph. My historic data has proven to be very accurate about this sort of things. And so you can see it go up, but it doesn't go perfectly linear, especially with sales. We really got into commercial this year. So what you're seeing here, these big weeks where we had I think we had a $340,000 sales week right here. That was a big spike, but that's because we sold some commercial jobs and things like that. But you can see other graphs. All right, so I'm going to try to jockey some graphs around here. If you take a look at my leads, I basically guessed within 1 or 2% exactly where we're going to be with leads. And you can see how accurate my projections are of going into the spring, leveling out in summer, and then coming back down like this. And you know what the interesting thing is? My projections for this year were even more pessimistic than the actual was. We did so much really good marketing. Look at this tail. We were continuing deep into October and November to keep getting really strong leads above my projections. So that was a huge thing. You can obviously tell that the summer didn't do a high plateau as soon as I thought it did. And there's a huge dip in the middle of summer. You think about the July 4th time like that. There's typically a spring surge and a late summer surge. And you can kind of see that go here. You can see the spring surge is kind of here where we kind of reached the peak with leads. There was a real big spike here. I think it was when we first instituted our street team getting out there. And then it tapered off a little bit, holidays, and then it stayed strong. So you can see these projections are a super useful thing for the company, and you have to set these things accurately. Now, the tendency of people like us is just set them like, hey, let's just double the company this year. And instead of an accurate graph week by week based on historical data and a little bit of progress here and there based on data and feelings, people just be like, I just want to do 20% more everywhere. Well, you have to understand, like, you can say that, but if you don't put the things in place, not only the like extra marketing costs, the extra marketing collateral, the 8 channels of paid marketing, and then the management around that and the human to do that, then you can just write whatever graph you want, and it doesn't really work like that. So, Tim Pierpont, hey Tim, how's it going, man? Have you noticed net sales amount per lead decrease this year? So, no. One of the things that I was really interested in was seeing my recession check, because we have to think about worst case scenario. I'm gonna share another screen here, guys. I didn't plan on sharing a bunch of screens here, but you guys are bringing up a lot of good points here. So Tim asked a very good thing, and what I typically do is, sorry, I'm pulling up Paint Scout here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another screen. So give me just a second. I'm going to give you guys data. All right. So now let's hide this one. Let's put this one. Oh man, I love the data in the dashboard. So I hope to migrate my beige AF dashboards into Paint Scout later this year for the production management and all the other stuff too. But one thing that I kept my eye on was a very interesting number about average job size. So on our, let's see if we can get this accurate here. Okay, so my average job size per sold job was $53,35.29 for the entire year, every job. $190,000, I think, was our biggest job. $300, $400 was my smallest one. And I told myself that one indication that the economy might be softening or recession might be coming is that if the average job size goes down year over year, and you have to parse it out for commercial and all this other stuff. But we had a $5,100 average job size last year, and we have about a $4,700 interior average job size and about a $6,800 exterior average job size. All in, we're probably at 53. So actually, our average job size grew about $220 per average job this year. So that could be a number of things. It could be a couple really big jobs. It could be a couple smaller jobs. It could be we do 2 standard price increases a year. It could be advanced sales training. It could be like a million other things. But all I care about is the end result, that soup. I want it going one way. So, Robert, how's it going, man? Hey, thanks for everybody for watching on Instagram. For those of you who just tuned in, there is baseball practice going on behind me. There is Christmas music playing on a very loud speaker right next to me, which they just started a little bit ago. And I am here doing Ask Painter Live, doing a kind of live recount of the craziest week of the year, this last week of the year for my company and most other entrepreneurs. So Tim Pierpont asked if I've seen a decrease in amount per lead. No. What I'm looking at, I've noticed a net sales amount per lead decrease this year. So what I don't do is track sales per lead. That basically is average job size. When you sell a job, it moves to a sold job. I track average job size, which means sales per job or revenue per job. So that's what we do. That's that number that you were looking at right there. So that's what I track. Mine went up this year, as it should. It went up about what I projected, give or take. And that's kind of what we're looking at right there. So guys, any question, any comment you want, I'm just going through the craziest week of the year for entrepreneurs. It's one of the funnest. It's also one of the manic and most crazy. I also did comp plan reviews for every single human in my company. So every single W-2 painter, every person on the leadership team, all the support people, everything else. And again, I changed most of the formats. Everybody's got a multi-page, one single source of truth for all their comp. And I gave a recount of the last year for every single person. I gave a complete breakdown of when we meet, what you'll be bonused on, what you'll be raised on, what you'll be potentially fired from, things like that. And it's all laid out with data and no feelings. And for the painters, it's all attendance and job hour budget based. For my leadership team, they have a base salary. They got a whole bunch of benefits. And then they have a bonus and commission structure where they get a percentage of every job that was good gross profit. So I pay those out quarterly. So I did a recap of all those. And I'm very happy to say that The two largest bonus checks I've ever paid out came in two successive quarters to two different people on my leadership team, which was absolutely awesome. I also paid the single largest check to any subcontractor we've ever worked with too. It's deep into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures as well. And that was just a progress payment for one of our big commercial jobs. So it's a very it makes me very happy because I've created comp plans for every single human, from the guy who sweeps the shop floor to me, where if we all win, we all win together. There's no disaligned incentives, things like that. So that takes a lot of work, guys. I started this process 6 weeks ago, give or take here. So it's a lot of data based, and I do not mess around with people's comp and pay. If it's all feelings based, you're going to get some pissed off people, rightly so. So my people know they're just rated on data. If painters are rated on attendance and job budgets, and we just add up your attendance, we look at your hourly budgets, and if you did it or not, that's your future. So Sarah James King, hey Nick, I wanted to ask you. Last week in Connecticut, what's your longest tenure employee, and how do you keep them happy even when it's slow? Incentives and bonuses. So thank you so much for being there in Connecticut. That was one of the best master's classes of the year. I can't say the best, because the week previous was the Gathering of Minnesota Painters, where we had a huge crowd as well at the Titan Factory in Sherwin sponsored. But we had last week, I was in Connecticut for my last master's class of the year. 130 humans plus a whole bunch of support staff and Sherwin people showed up. We filled the Cabaret Theater, which is really awesome, at the Mohegan Sun, a crazy, crazy casino. My longest tenure painter is 8+ years. He came with me he was working at a gas station. We brought him through the apprenticeship program, and he's seen my business go from just a couple people into 25 to 40, depending on the time of the year. The second question, how do you keep them happy? Here's the deal. Most people's happiness when you're an employee is not based on the amount of money you pay them. It is very important that you do a whole bunch of kind of boring, unsexy, consistent things as a business owner to make it so that every week is consistent and as little stress as possible, and you want to gather as many other humans around them. So if you asked, what do you keep them happy when it's slow? Incentives and bonuses. If it is slow and you give them an incentive to make up for maybe not a full week of work, upfront and honest, you're going to ruin that human. That is now the expectation that, oh my God, if you pay somebody not to work, you have really poisoned that well, right? I wish it wasn't that way. This is not me saying these people are bad. This is just me saying I look at all the humans I've ever employed. And many, many years ago, when we were growing the company, we really didn't have a great marketing system. It got slow in winter, right? We had a whole crap. I think I had 35 freaking W-2 painters at one point, and to keep them busy this week in December is pretty tough, right? So I used to say this, because this is important to me, that I will guarantee you 40 hours a week, and then it was up to me to get revenue producing work. And as you can believe it, there wasn't that much work out there. So I would set them doing charity work and cleaning the shop, and honestly, it didn't help at all. It just didn't help at all. I've migrated to a system now where we have an unlimited overtime policy. I beg people to work 40 hours a week. We shut down for 2 weeks of the year. Most of my W-2 painters, if I'm being very honest, work about 37, 38 hours a week. Most of them don't even average 40. So when it comes time to this year, if somebody wants work, for 50 weeks of the year, I ask people if they want to work extra time. We only work a 4-day work week, so they can work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as much as they want. It's all time and a half. I beg people to put in the extra hours. And if they don't take me up on it, the 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks where we shut down or we don't have a job, say, I gave you all the opportunities to do it. It's just that, if you want to take a whole bunch of time off in summer, that's when we're super busy, and you got to get those hours in, right? You don't have to work every weekend in summer, but working 2 extra hours a week will allow you to take 2 weeks off at the end of the year and still get paid for every week of the year. So that's how little it is. So it's just setting expectations, and I would just urge everybody out there. I have never seen a good data point come out of, hey, we don't have any work this week, I'm just going to pay you guys, don't even show up. I've spoken to so many business owners about this. I love the impetus to help your people. In the end, it's never turned out well, and I wish it wasn't that way, guys. I'm just going to be very honest with you. This is how humans work, even the best ones. That's kind of how it goes. So, Sarah, I hope that helps. That's just my experience. Other people may have completely different experiences, but I've done some pretty crazy experiments when it comes to the humans in my business to try to figure out how the goals of the company can be met, how I can make them the most happy, but that we don't poison the well and things like that. And it's an imperfect process. I'm trying my best. I care deeply about these people. But again, if this business doesn't make money and we're not here, nobody's got a job. That's not the goal of anybody here. So we all got to row together, right? So, okay, Christmas parties. I tried lots of stuff over lots of years, guys. This year, what we're doing is leadership team. My, 10, 12, 14 person team, the spouses and everything. We'll took them out to a really fancy dinner last night at one of my favorite restaurants. Just great, intimate evening, awesome food, good drinks, amazing conversation, a little more intimate. And then tomorrow night, our last day of the year, we're going to basically a Top Golf place. It's a private Top Golf place here, and we got about 5 or 6 suites, full buffet, friends, family, 30 to 40 people will show up, things like that. And there's a name that warms my heart, John McFarland. John McFarland watching on Facebook. Dude, did you miss me? Yes, I missed you very much. I cannot wait. We had an awesome time at Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego, doing some board of directors stuff. John's the committee of a very important committee, the Governing Docs Committee for the PCA, working through some policy and bylaw stuff. And then he's going to be at my retreat coming up in early January. And then we're going to see each other again in February. So John is a guy I can't get enough. Absolutely love that dude. Jeff Adkins as well. Oh, Jeff Adkins watching too. Love you too, dude. He's a past retreater. Awesome guy. Stays in contact quite a bit. But yeah, really looking forward to the retreat. I've got a humdinger of an ask. I have a very special guest that's going to be coming along. And those of you that are going to the retreat have seen the attendance list. You can probably figure out who it is. But we got lots of big news. I got a very special person coming. Looking forward to that. So we talked about getting ready for comp plans, reviews with all my people. We talked about getting all the systems and dashboards and spreadsheets and software and apps set for all that stuff. We talked about the holiday parties. And then we're going through we think about the facility stuff. We're going through a complete facility redo as well, too. So I got awesome young Joe. He's an apprentice. He went to the Army. Lovingly, we call him G.I. Joe. And he is back between now and August, and then he goes to college. And he's such a good dude. I'm going to put him to work in the shop. So we basically gave him a 211-point checklist of things to do. And the whole shop is going to get taken down, recleaned, everything repainted, everything reset, floors painted, fixtures reset, tables cleaned out, furniture thrown away, got new furniture coming in, stacking ladders, cleaning ladders, hanging banners. I mean, you can imagine. Slavic Shop is getting a complete redo. And I promise you guys, I don't think I did a shop tour this last year. I can promise you guys, when that sucker looks good for the 1 week of the year after all this is done, I'll bring you guys through for the annual shop tour. And you guys will like a lot of the improvements. We also have Estimator Tom, beloved Estimator Tom. He is a very good carpenter. And he is going to come in and redo all the flooring in our upper offices. So we're going to redo all the framed art. We're going to redo the office floor. We're going to all the decorations and everything else, and that'll be super fun. So, guys, I should say now, get any of your questions, any of your topics that you want here ready. I'm just sitting here at baseball practice, listening to holiday music, recapping the craziest last week of the year. Just before this, I was redoing my whole production dashboard where we copy and paste the whole thing. It accumulates about 40 tabs during the year, and then we redo all that stuff, and then I basically reformat it. I set the new goals, and then I showed you guys my ops dashboard. That's this bad boy right there. That's something that I reset and we redo. That was in this format. That was it's not a new dashboard for me, but it's the most comprehensive dashboard I've ever made for somebody in my position, the ops manager, somebody in charge of the production team, estimating team, coordination team, marketing team, and the painters, all in one, stuff like that. So that was an absolute blast. Let's see, what else do I got going here? We have to set the marketing plan for next year. We have to set the revenue week by week, sales goals, and production. We got a big goal next year. It's going to be super fun. Most of this stuff will be, it's the skeleton of it is there. I think it's there. How I finalize this so I don't have to second guess it later in the year is I go on a silent solo retreat. No music, no ambient noise, no anything. And I basically just sit there in a place off-site, not in my office, not at baseball practice. I'm getting a historic Airbnb for myself, and I'm going to sit there in this whole historic town that is way away from everything else, and almost nobody lives there. And I am going to stare at this laptop, and I'm going to think about every damn number for every week of next year for marketing, sales, and production. And I'm going to set it in stone. I'm going to believe in it. I am going to trust it. I'm going to ingest it so I can feel it with my bones, and then I'm going to make it public for the company, and then I'm going to take the rest of the next couple of weeks off. like that. Do a whole bunch of fishing and hunting with the kids. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I have to set my personal goal. I work with somebody very, very near and dear to me on my personal arrow document. So I have 8 areas of my life that are very important, and I need to set, at least for quarter one and likely for all the other quarters, I need to recheck the purpose of my life. I know it sounds like some simple thing. Just check on the purpose of your life, not a big deal. And then you have to backtrack it to long-term goals, medium-term goals, short-term goals. And then I make a week-by-week plan of those 8 areas of life about what my goals are for the quarter and for the year. And then I have to back it down to what am I going to do this week to reach that goal for the quarter and then for the year. And then it has to be something where I have accountability partners. So I report every Monday morning at the same time, the same place. I report to this accountability partner about whether I did these things or not. And then they call me on my BS, set me on the right path, check my purpose, and check that I'm in alignment, and we go from there. So outside of that, I love this stuff. All this visionary stuff is just, I love this. There's so many tasks in there that are kind of, you could call them drudgery, but man, I love this sort of thing. I love architecting these systems, setting my people up, and then filling the numbers week by week through the year. So we're going to do, as you guys would expect, we're going to do some pretty innovative things with marketing this next year. We're going to do the next level of advanced sales training for my people. We got brand new comp plans for the painters, so I'll be giving them weekly updates on their own dashboards about how they're doing. That'll be brand new. We instituted Paint Scout CRM, which is fantabulous. It's the greatest thing ever. Hoping we can add in some project warning stuff. Let's see. Oh, Vanderlei watching on Instagram. Boa my friend. I assume you must be down in Brazil. Miss you guys. I didn't get to go down to Brazil this year, but we're working on something for next year. I might travel to a continent I've never been in my life early next year. So more on that. Interesting little side note here, but my first master's class of the year is in the Dominican Republic. More to follow. I can't tell you anything right now, but it's going to be a really fun time. So outside of that, recap of the last week. Everything's on track. Everything's good. I've divided a lot of the tasks of resetting the company between my young protege Jack, my coordinator, and my young high-speed marketer Mason. So we made all right, I guess I got to show you another dashboard. I know this stuff is just like, all these things are connected. You think I just have endless spreadsheets, but really what we're doing here, let me go to Sherry. I like to be organized, and I like to have things in a single source of truth. So basically, what I'm showing you there is basically my end of year checklist. Some of this is specific to a human, some of this is specific to a department of the company, right? And we just kind of divide it up, take ownership. We're making notes, we're checking things off. You can see in 3 days so far, we've checked off some pretty big things. A lot of these things are already like set in place where we contacted these people. We've set this thing in motion. We just have to wait for results from it. So I think we're on track right now with finishing all this, but I'm the cleanup guy. I'll come in next week, Monday or Tuesday, or pick away at it over my vacation, in front of the Christmas tree with a cup of coffee and the dogs as my family's sleeping. So but that's basically this is the first draft of the checklist. When we're done with this week, I'll do the whole shop reset checklist, and I'll go through one last pass to make sure that we did everything that we need to do, right? John McFarland, I love your take on the 2-week shutdown. We stress about it as entrepreneurs. It's a great reminder to set expectations and talk about it when work is stacked up. That's it. And you know what? For a lot of us who do this really well, people think we're like ultra seasonal, where it's like, oh my God, we work 1,000 hours a week in the summer and then it's completely dead for 3 months. Dude, a lot of us who have done this a while and have a pretty ripping marketing plan, we have the ability. It would be great if everybody worked 50, 60 hours a week in the summer, but instead of 40 hours all week during the winter, we may only have 36, 35, right? And I know it's a noticeable thing for the painters, but every single update, this is the job of managers, setting expectations, which is every single week I get on the general Slack and I give my owners, my proprietors update, and I just give some updates about here's the days off during the year, here's what to expect, here's what we're looking for overtime policy, here's the time off that we're having at the end of the year. And there's always a reminder about, guys, get the hours in. We're begging people for hours for 50 weeks of the year. There's 2 weeks where we're shutting down, and it would be bad timing for you to ask for hours when I've briefed you for 50 weeks of the year, 11 and a half months. I've told you there's no work here, and I've been asking for you for 2 extra hours a week all weeks of the year. And it's just, I set expectations. And at the end, doing make work for people, paying people to not work or do unproductive work, I've just never seen a good example of that working out. So, John, we're aligned on all that stuff. Appreciate the hell out of you, man. So, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off. If I don't see another question come through on Instagram or Facebook, I think I'm going to shut her down. My son's going to be done with. Baseball practice in a couple of minutes. And honestly, I'm itching to go back to my dashboard and redo my ops dashboard and production dashboard for the team. So that stuff is super fun. So Daniela Eugenio Bonoichi, my friend down in Brazil, appreciate the heck out of you. Thank you, everybody else, for watching here. I'm just scrolling through the people watching in the comments here. Plenty of people watching IG and Instagram, or IG and Facebook here. Appreciate the heck out of you guys. It's cool. Justin Cowles, thanks for the compliment on the dashboard. Love my dashboards and love my beige dashboards. Those are super fun. So, all right, Jeff Adkins will close her out here. All right, buddy. Appreciate the hell out of you. Can't say it any better. Enjoy your evening. You too, guys. We'll see you soon. And we got a big announcement coming for Ask a Painter. I got some stuff to drop on you guys here. So, all right, guys. Ryan Keuschel. All right, dude. We'll see you later, guys. Have a great evening.